We are live. As it says on the screen, I'm Cheryl, the Healing Birth Doula, and we've got with us Sophie Mei Lan from Mama May. And we're live on Facebook and we're live on YouTube at the same time because we like multitasking, and you know we're both mums, so we know what that's like, don't we?
I'm actually on an exercise call as well.
Oh wow, amazing! I'm on my bed, so because you know, rest is important. So I've got my healing within and without questions that I'm going to take you through, and we're going to talk a bit about you and about your book and about healing and your healing journeys as part of the series that I've been broadcasting on healing within and without, because I'm all about the healing. I'm all about the healing journeys with regards to birth and how transformative and healing birth can be, as well as how traumatic and devastating birth can be. And I think, having read, I'm nearly at the end now, I've got one chapter left of your book, that you've had kind of difficult experiences too with relation to birth. We've got a young YouTuber downstairs called Riley, who is adamant he wants to set up his own YouTube channel. He's only 5, but he is currently pretending he's making videos with Hot Wheels. So if we hear random noise, that's what's happening. He's like talking to himself and commentating how the orange one is coming second and that sort of thing.
I love it.
So that's what's happening. It will. It really will. That's what he wants to do. He's inspired by Ryan and he wants to do his own channel. Riley, are you outside the door? Oh, I think he's gone to the toilet.
I love it, real life.
Okay, so let's begin and get to know you a little bit more, Sophie. So first of all, just tell us a bit about you and what you do and why you do it.
So I'm Sophie Mei Lan, aka Mama May, and I am now known as a blogger, vlogger, author. I talk a lot about self-love and self-harm and mental health, but the reality of living with mental illness, but also thriving with it and running businesses from home, keeping fit, feeling good. I'm actually a trained journalist by trade and also a belly dancer. So bizarrely, whilst I've spent a lot of money at universities studying journalism, and working in the media industry, it's been my belly dance career since age 14 that has been the most stable career. So you never know what you're going to end up doing. So even on a day where I'm actually at my partner's house right now, and he's working at his personal training studio, I've taught belly dance class today. I've written a newspaper column. I've done some blogs, done some social media coaching. And then, you can just do all sorts from home nowadays. So people always used to say, oh, you're the jack of all trades and master of none kind of thing, that kind of whole ethos. But now I am just accepting that I'm a multifaceted person, but my main focus is mental health and media.
Absolutely. And I was going to say to you, what's your favourite part of what you do? All of those things, that plethora of things. What's your favourite bit?
I think I'm in my buzz and my zone when I write and when I vlog. So when I'm in my zone, when I'm writing, I love that. I love hot desking, having lots of nice coffee, when the kids aren't with me, and just getting into that flow. And then also, when I'm vlogging as well. And then I guess sometimes, because I do have my bad days with my mental health, sometimes I can't verbalize it or write it out, but then the dancing and keeping fit helps as well with that. So I'm actually training to do personal training and also a mental health accreditation, because I'm a big believer about mind, body, soul, and social media. And it's managing that and knowing that you can be a good parent, a good business person, but most of all, health is wealth. So it's practicing self-care and self-love first, before we give out, because we're always used to giving out. And actually, often we need to, as you talk about, look at the within and actually build our strength from within first.
Oh, absolutely. And I talk a lot about in what I do about the mind and body connection too, and how, well, essentially it's what is within is also without, and what we feel on the inside is what happens on the outside, is what we manifest. So often when we're trying to make big changes in our lives, whether that's related to birth or career or personal life, we have to start with us, really, don't we? That's where it starts. And then we start to see the changes on the outside. And I think that's kind of resonates with your story as well, and how you've had to work a lot on your inside, and therefore change what's on the outside for you, relationships, career, and all of that. So I've answered my own next question. There, I'm going to ask you, because the series is called Healing Within and Without, what does that mean to you personally?
I think for me, healing within needs to first come on the outside. So it was actually my mental health nurse who said to me that you need to surround yourself with positive women, because I'd had a series of difficult situations. And when I say difficult, I'm glossing, majorly glossing. And I did start to build up a community of women around me, who were all beautifully unique, and weird and wonderful as I am. And I started the Squats and Sparkles Women's Health Club, and it was all about being holistically healthy, and thriving off not fitting in, because I think so much, especially women, we're like brought up like by society to like nurture people, to care, but also to work now, and you're always like pulled in every single direction of what you should be, and actually it's accepting your whole self, however that looks like to you. So I think I had a lot of recovery to do myself, from a really difficult past, but also it was putting those cheerleaders in place around me, and I always talk about getting rid of the vampires and focusing on the cheerleaders. So people like yourself, who you know will accept you as you are, however you appear, whatever you come across like, they'll get your heart. And being around those people who lift you up can help you start having the strength to start to heal from within. And for me, healing within was like managing my mental health properly, overcoming self-harming, and even recently I've had so many personal challenges that have been not like, I'd say heartbreaking, but I've managed to cope because I'm healed from within, and I'm always focusing on doing the things that I need to do. So for me, it's fitness and dance and writing, and keeping those self-care building blocks can help me then on the outside too. And I've actually realized the real link between mind and body, because when I get stressed, I get my fatigue, and when I'm not stressed, my fatigue's nowhere near as bad. So that's why I think you really do need to build your own building blocks first, and also a bit of pet therapy.
Oh, I didn't know there was a cat there.
Yeah. I brought a lot of baggage to the new relationship, and he's just brought a cat, so I can accept that.
Riley, can you wait? This is real life, live, working from home with a child who's isolating, and now he's done a poo and he's shouting me to go and wipe his bum.
Oh, bless him.
Isn't it just wonderful? So I might ask you the question. Go and sort him out, and you can answer the question to our lovely viewers so that they're not left waiting. The question is, no, I know, crazy, live, you catch it all. I already kind of know the answer to the question, because I already know you, and because I've read your book. The question is about your healing journey, and why healing is important to you personally, and what that's meant for you in terms of your healing journey that you've been on, which is a big one. You know, that's essentially what is your book is about, isn't it? But if you could put that in a nutshell for us and just cover me while I go and wipe my child's ass.
That's absolutely fine. Good luck. You have the harder job. So while Cheryl goes off, for me, healing, I'm trying not to fall off this exercise ball and hold a cat at the same time and talk. I'm used to multitasking though. It's not as hard for me as I haven't got the kids here at the moment. So, but for me, healing, I had a really difficult past. I had a really good family and support network, but a lot of things happened, being bullied and abused and lots of different things in my childhood and formative years. And whilst I was supported a lot by my family, because I also had mental health problems as well, it was really hard to manage. So I turned to self-harm. And I won't go into that because I don't want to trigger anyone. But for me, it was through lots of different methods of self-harm, whether that be in negative relationships, the physical side of self-harm, eating disorders, addictions, you name it. I tried anything to escape, to get a quick kind of escape out of reality, because I struggled to deal with the reality I found myself in. And I blamed myself as well for everything. Even down to some of the worst things that happened to me, I would always blame myself and then feel bad about getting any kind of bad person into trouble. Hello. So I went on a really long roller coaster healing journey. Hello, Riley. And yeah, so for me, it's been a long road to recovery and healing. And I never say I'm fully recovered because, again, that's too much pressure. That's why my hashtag of my book and my life is perfectly imperfect. But it was, first of all, forgiving myself rather than I'd always forgiven everyone else for the wrongs they did to me, but I'd never forgiven myself. And then I found self-care, positive people, fitness, dance, doing well in my career, focusing on that, but in a sustainable way, not killing myself to just work, which I used to do. So yeah, just having a number of things, because I think when it comes to dealing with our mental health, whether you've had the kind of life story I have had, or you struggle with your mental health, because you can struggle without there being any clear triggers. And so it's about looking at what works for you, because especially with mental health care, I have a lot of support nowadays, but it's taken many years to get to that point of support. Hey, Riley, do you want to meet Poppy the cat?
Look, Poppy, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Poppy. Yeah, Riley wouldn't go back downstairs to play Hot Wheels.
Oh, that's absolutely fine. You can come chat to us.
Are you going to look now? Are you being shy? So why are we not talking? So Sophie's talking. But he couldn't believe it when I said I'm doing a video on YouTube, and he went, "It's going to be on YouTube."
You're YouTube famous.
So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sure a lot of people will feel inspired that you've been able to come through so much and still find healing in whatever way you've found it. Why do you think healing is important in a wider context then, so outside of you, like society in general? Why is healing important?
I think one of my biggest lessons recently is to not judge the judges. And so for me, it was accepting that people who hadn't healed or weren't focused on their own healing were often projecting hatred or projecting nasty comments or nasty behavior. And I'd always struggled to understand why people could be cruel and why people could be unkind, because whilst I'm not the perfect person, each day I try my best to be better than I was the day before. And I really struggled with that, not knowing why people wouldn't be kind. I'm quite simple when it comes to kindness. I just think, why can't people just be more kind? But what I have to accept is that I've been lucky, because I've got to a place now. I've kind of experienced about 9 lives already, to get to a place of healing. So I don't need to project hate or anger onto people. Or most of all, I don't need to do it onto myself either. And sometimes, that said, I've needed to learn to be more angry, because, again, all my anger used to be projected on myself. So in the wider context of healing, I think everyone is on a journey, and everyone needs to take that time to actually heal from, do you know, it could be little things as negative comments they've been brought up with, or just their own negative self-perception. And if you're not healed, you're going to give out either negativity to other people or to yourself. And so I think more than ever, we need to focus on the whole person. We kind of have this, like, in our kind of capitalist society, it's all about, you know, money equals happiness, and you know, we just want quick fixes, which we all do. Let's not, like, don't get me wrong, but what we do need to do is actually, if you put your building blocks in of health first, I'm a big believer health is wealth, get your health and fitness on track, and everything, your career, everything, your life, everything will feel much better. And I think we just get into this kind of like life's hard mentality. But once we start to focus on something positive, your whole mindset can change. And we have his down days, but everyone does. And it's being resilient. It's not having those days. It's how we get back up again.
Yeah. I love how you've described that. I think it really sums it up, and it's exactly how I see things as well, that you do see so much hatred, you see all these horrible things going on in the world, and you just, now, because I'm so focused on healing, I do the same thing. I look around me and go, so much healing that needs to be done. People are projecting all of this negativity outwards because they've got nothing else to do with it. And much like yourself, I used to, and I mean, I'm not lying, I still do sometimes project a lot of the hatred inwards to me. You know, even when it should have been directed elsewhere, it's often been directed towards me. And you talk in your book about your internal bully, and I think for any of us who've gone through any sort of bullying in life, whether that's at school or other parts of our life, we tend to have that voice there that tells us all of the things, just in case someone else thinks it. I'm going to say it to myself first, because then I can be prepared. And when you live like that, it becomes so normal, to the point where you're then reacting defensively all of the time, because you're waiting for something bad to happen. And really, that's also, it's a trauma response, isn't it? The idea that we're then hypervigilant and we're looking for the bad things, and we're protecting ourselves by behaving in a different way than we normally would. And society would be much better off if all of us were just a little bit more healed, a little bit felt more safe, and didn't feel like we had to hurt other people in order to feel good. And we'd all be a lot happier. It's that idea, isn't it, that we're all chasing happiness. We're all chasing happiness with the money. Like, I'll earn more money and then I can buy the happiness that I really desire. And then when you work for yourself, I think you kind of have to stop, somehow reverse that, change your mindset and say, what can I do that makes me happy? And then when I'm doing that every day, I don't have to spend my money on things to make me happy anymore, because I'm already happy doing what I'm doing. So yeah, absolutely. I'm going to move on to the next question now. Talk about that all day. So, because I'm the healing birth doula, and you know, birth is what I'm all about, can you tell us, if you want to, you don't have to, but can you share a little bit about your own birth stories and what healing birth means to you, whether you've experienced what you would call a healing birth or not, and how would you describe that in relation to birth?
So the first time I gave birth, it was an like unplanned pregnancy, and I felt too young and too naive, but I think we all feel like that, even if we're a young mum or not. But I felt like very much because it was my daughter Jasmine was induced, and it was all medical and traumatic, and everything felt out of my control. I wanted to give birth at home, but I couldn't because of my mental health. I was high risk. I didn't want to be induced. Also, she was due on International Women's Day, so I was gutted when she was induced on 27th of Feb, not March the 8th. But that's the feminist women. But I didn't have the confidence to speak out then, and I just felt like my body was given to the medical professionals, shoved whatever drugs in, taking a baby out. It was all painful, slow. I didn't even get a good Subway delivered at the end of it. Even the Subway order went wrong. And it was all very medicalised and just not a nice experience, which I don't think, well, it definitely didn't help my mental health to start with, especially in those early days where you feel like your body's changed, everything's outward, like just people are just like judging you, prodding you. But then what helped to heal me actually was my breastfeeding journey, because I had some fab breastfeeding volunteers who supported me, and I was moving between Sheffield services and Wakefield services because I was also moved house during the pregnancy. So having that bond in the early days really, really did help, whilst I did struggle with my mental health. But fast track forward to the second time I gave birth to my youngest daughter, I'd since gone to like birth choices groups, and I'd found like a great community of women. One of you, like you were there, and like there's Emma as well, who's another doula, and just having people where they actually like changed and my opinion around birth, and also to frame my thoughts that it wasn't about giving up my rights anymore. It was actually I had the rights to have a birth how I wanted to, and make those choices, and that really empowered me. And because I'm a bit zany and a bit out there, for the second birth, I decided to. Well, I did have an exercise ball. I was bouncing around to Sean Paul rap music. I was belly dancing. I even ate chips and scraps from the chip shop. And I wanted to give birth in a water pool, so I got a special bikini made for that occasion. But unfortunately, the birth pool got gunk in it at the hospital. Again, the only thing that I didn't have a say in was giving birth at home, because again, I was high risk because I was on strong medication for my mental health problems. But because most of it had been my choice and in the way I wanted, and I felt respected, and the midwives were amazing, and it just transformed my experience into motherhood the second time around. I was quite, the only traumatic thing, and it sounds over the top, but I actually found it really traumatic, was the bounty people in the hospital selling to me when I was like really groggy, and I spent loads of money on my card, and I hadn't even slept since giving birth. And I know it sounds really silly, but it upset me so much when I got home, and they were like, oh my gosh, I've spent hundreds of pounds on some awful photos. And yeah, so I think that was the only like downside, whereas other than that, Pinderfields Hospital was incredible. But yeah, the whole sales reps on ward thing really doesn't sit right with me.
No, and I think a lot of birth workers would agree with that as well, that it's ethically unsound. And some trusts have gone ahead and banned bounty from the wards. And of course, at the moment during COVID, then no extra people can be on the wards anyway, which could be a good thing actually.
Definitely.
It's not fair for what could have been entirely good and positive and healing experience was kind of tainted by that part of it. So
Yeah.
it's not over the top or any at all. And I would never minimize any kind of trauma, because people often in the birth trauma group I'm in, they'll often come in and say, well, my experience is nowhere near as traumatic as some of yours, and I should just be grateful because everything was okay and I've got a baby. But we should never feel like that, because we're allowed to feel all of the things. We can be grateful that we've got our baby, and we can be happy that we had the birth that we wanted, and we can still also be traumatized by an element that we had no control over, and it's really upsetting.
That's why I definitely say, and I'm not just saying this because it's you, I know that for the next time I have kids, if I'm lucky enough to, I would definitely get like you to be a doula. I definitely, because I think it's still an underestimated thing, because especially when you're so vulnerable, when you're giving birth, and in the lead up as well, and also in the postnatal period as well, all those moments, you do need an advocate sometimes, because you kind of like, you're focused on what's happening with your body. There's so many different things you're trying to manage. Having someone there who's a supporter and is there to kind of like get your views across, I think is just so worthwhile for a lot of mums with or without mental health problems. But I know that would have massively helped my mental health, is having someone there like just solely for me.
Yeah, completely no agenda other than the person who's giving birth's agenda. That's it. That's all the doula comes with. We've got no interest in anything else happening other than what you've said you want to have happen. And that's the power of it, really. And also, when you were saying before about how you couldn't have a home birth, the first thing I was thinking was, well, next time I'm going to get you sorted with a home birth, because, it's your choice where you give birth, always and forever. No matter what anyone says, no matter what the recommendations are, you're allowed to choose where you give birth. And that can be in the middle of the forest next to a baby deer, if you so wish.
Oh, if it's a nice warm forest, let's get over there.
It can also just be
with you.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Belly dancing at home, in labour.
Yeah, be like, come on,
have a baby, go to bed in your own bed afterwards. So yeah, we can talk about that if the time comes.
Well, yes, I was just gonna say. Luckily, my partner's out.
I'm not planning you a pregnancy or anything. I'm just saying, just in case. So okay, that's really good. Thank you. I've got a really important question to ask you now. If you could forge a master plan to heal the world, what actions would you take?
Oh, I like the power. I'm not used to this.
It is, yeah, very powerful. This is true empowerment. And when we had Mel Scott on last week, she started saying, yeah, but, and I had to say, no, we've got no buts. This is not, we've got no restrictions, boundaries, or barriers in this, Sophie. You can tell me exactly what you're going to make happen. So how are you going to heal the world? Go.
Okay, I would literally share all the wealth, all the money, and spread it evenly across the world, and tax all those offshore companies instead of chasing the grassroots people. But other than that, for me, it would be, I'd love to give the power and the wealth of health to everyone, and just the power of fitness and dance as a therapy or creativity, just giving, like, enabling people all over the world to do something active each day for themselves. Yeah, I'd love that, because I just think I'd love just to take some people on a walk, or just to help them to move, just to give them a bit of fresh air and a bit of perspective. And yeah, I just really focus on the health of people. So rather than just bounce back loans for businesses like in crisis times at the moment, I'm really big on mental health and fitness of people. So yeah, and a lot of that unfortunately does come from not having enough money. And so I just spread all that wealth and just give people the power of health. And then once you're healthy, you can be more kind. And just, yeah, I just love to spread some fairy magic of kindness as well, for people to question themselves before they act out of hate. And actually just the power of kindness, health, fitness, and dance or creativity, whatever floats your boat. I think we should have 1 hour a day of self-care, so something that's great for us, great for our soul, get us all moving, and whatever that may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I talk to new mums about self-care when I teach my postnatal course, and we talk about how the societal view of self-care has come to be kind of luxury, hasn't it? Like I can get my nails done or my hair done, and sometimes that is self-care, but often it's the little things every day. It's the choosing to do the things you don't really want to do sometimes because you know actually that's better for you. It's the choosing to eat the right things instead of the wrong things because that's actually self-care rather than self-harm. And it's the choosing to go out of your way to do the things that you know in the long term are better for you rather than having short quick fixes all of the time, whether that's too much caffeine or whatever. Oh, I've got water.
Good on you. I've got water as well in the beer glass.
Yes, and we do. And just drink more water. There we go. We've forged a master plan. I'm going to bring together the whole panel at the end and we're going to save the world.
Awesome. I like it.
Exactly. And there are a lot of people out there who are very kind. And we don't often see that, do we? We don't see the kindness so much because the media gets more attention from the negative and doing lots of harassment of people and that sort of thing. So it would be nice to be able to just share the kindness. Maybe we could start a hashtag and do a bit of a viral campaign on hashtag share the kindness. Anyway,
definitely love always wins hate.
Absolutely. So I want to thank you so much for answering my questions. I'm going to give you the chance to tell us a bit more about how people find you, if they want to work with you, if they want to do some belly dancing, if they want to find out where they buy your book, or where they find you on YouTube.
Yeah, so as I said, I'm Mama Mei. You can get me on social media at Mama Mei blog, where I chat about my life, but my journey as well, very honestly, from self-harm to self-love. And my new book, Eat, Sleep, Control, Repeat, which is my memoir basically of recovery and going on a perfectly imperfect journey, is available on thewholegoodbooks.com. And my link as well is on my Facebook page, Mama Mei blog, as well as it's on Amazon if you want the link as well to it on there. But you do get a little free gift if you buy it independently on Whole Good Books. And then, yeah, I'm also on YouTube, Sophie Mei Lan, MEILAN. So, yeah, I'm all over the internet. But I'd love people to use the hashtag perfectly imperfect and to share why they're like perfectly imperfect, because I think part of my problem was always striving for perfection, and it's just to accept that life's never going to be this ideal of perfection, and just to be happy in that moment. Also, if you're a woman or identify as a woman watching this, you can join our Squats and Sparkles Women's Health Club on Facebook, where we just set our goals, and just our little accountability buddies, and it's all about self-care and just basically being true to yourself and being the wonderful person from within. So thank you so much for having me, Cheryl, and it's nice chatting to everyone as well. If you've got any questions, do comment as well, and we'll try and answer.
Absolutely. So I've not seen any comments come through as we've been watching, but if anything comes up later on, we can come back on and answer them. What was I going to say? Oh, I'm in Spots and Sparkles as well. No, I don't engage a lot, but I do follow it. And you mentioned something about joining your belly dancing and how you're doing that. Do you want to mention that as well?
Yeah, no, that's great. Thank you. So I do feel good belly dance, like belly dance fusion, lots of positive affirmations. So you can join me if you go to bellydanceuk.com. That's my website. Or I'm Belly Dancer Sophie on social media. Or you can just DM me and I'll send you a link to book on the class. So I'd love you to join me. I do one-to-ones and online parties at the moment and shows and all sorts, and yeah, it just keeps me going and keeps me positive and keeps me shimmying, and that is always my sign up, love and shimmy. So you have to give me a shimmy, Cheryl.
Thank you. Oh, awesome. I feel like I've got some shimmies going on after this video. I think I'll have to do some. So I'm going to be back next Tuesday speaking to Ruth Olayinka, who's a clinical hypnotherapist, and we're going to be taking her through the Healing Within and Without questions there as well. But that one's going to be on the evening, 8 o'clock next Tuesday. And then I'm doing a live on Instagram next Thursday with Lindsay Hornby from Shire Rose Yoga, and we're going to be going through her healing questions too about yoga. So lots of exciting things coming up. And thank you so much for being with me today, Sophie. Take care, and I hope that I get to see you soon in real life.
Yeah, definitely. Lots of positivity. Thank you so much for having me. See you later. Bye.